I want to talk about the whole things I do to fill my cup trend. You need to put your own oxygen mask on before you help other people. What's the hole at the bottom of my cup that means everything's spilling out and it means I can't give to myself? Just do something, again, that is not in responding mode first thing in the morning. It's about finding new ways to exercise your creativity just to understand and appreciate the process. I think there's such a difference between resting and recharging. Just think of it as like your vitamin for your mental health, and like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of movement a day is literally enough. Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Mahika and this podcast was designed to help you create the dream version of your life, because a lot of us have no template and we are the first to start our careers, to date, to travel, to explore, to really figure it out. And so this podcast brings you interviews with successful women showing that success is diverse, and also solo episodes of just me trying to build a happy, successful life so that we can do it together and you can see what it's like real time. I am the guinea pig and we build together. And so today I want to talk about the whole things I do to fill my cup trend and talk about things that I do to fill my cup. It's cold outside, it's winter, it's miserable and grey and sad. And so I wanted to bring this as something that's a little bit warm and cozy and give you some things that you can do to make yourself feel better and feel more optimistic about this season of your life. So please go get a snack, a drink or something, and let's sit down and talk about things that we can do to fill our cups together, or things that I do to fill my cup that I think you should try if you don't already. I want you to comment down below once you listen to this, while you're listening to this, what you do to fill your own cup and things that you do to make yourself feel better, to make yourself feel energized, to feel rested. And I think it's so important. I don't know if you've ever heard the saying of like, you need to put your own oxygen mask on before you help other people. I think that's so true. And it relates to this metaphor around like filling your own cup of, in order to give, in order to share, you have to fill up your own cup. And so I keep seeing this on TikTok of like things I do to fill up my cup, or like one girl, 10 things to do to fill up your cup, or happy triggers, or that kind of thing. And I made an episode many months ago around how happiness is not an emotion, but it's a skill, and there's many things that you can do to master it. So this is kind of an updated version for the season, and talking more about things that you can do to make yourself feel better and feel happier. So number one, I think it's identifying what doesn't fill up your cup before deciding what does, and what makes you happy, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel ready to go do your work, your studies, your relationships, your hobbies, your health, everything. And for me, I had to sit down with myself and be like, okay, what are things that are like leaking out of my cup? Like, what's the hole at the bottom of my cup that means everything's spilling out and it means I can't give to myself? And I have this ritual that I do every weekend. It's called an energy audit. And it's basically a journaling practice that I do where things that give my energy on one side, things that take my energy on the other, and neutral. This is not about good or bad. It's just about being mindful that things take your energy, they take your time, they take your money. And so being like, does this fill my cup? Does this make me happy? Does this make me feel good about myself, about my life? Does it make me feel drained? And is it just noise? Is it just neutral? And so taking inventory of that is really important, because if you're not mindful about things that take your energy, that drain you, then it's really difficult, because you are constantly tired, you're constantly overwhelmed, you're constantly drained, and you don't even know why. And so take stock of what is draining you. For example, I realized recently that doom scrolling and having social media all the time is so draining for me. And I work with social media and creative industry, so it's like work. So I used to be on the clock. I used to be making TikToks at like 11 o'clock at night and be like, yeah, I'm being productive. But I had to set boundaries with myself. And I'm one of these girlies that like overrides the screen time timer. So I had to get this app called Freedom. It's like a time blocker. And I've said like these apps I can't use after 9 p.m. and I can't use before 10 a.m. And that's my time for me. And so in the morning when I used to wake up and do my like defrosting doom scroll, where I was like not awake enough to go get out of bed and do anything, but I was awake enough to like be mentally there, and I'd doom scroll, or I'd check my Instagram or check my messages or check my emails. Now I can't do it after 9 p.m. and before 10 a.m. It's not happening. And so that was something that really helped me like not leak things out of my cup. And there's so many other little things, like certain habits, certain food. I've realized that like I do this thing where I make a 20-30 to-do list thing of like 20-30 things to do every single day. And it's like, write email, do this, blah, 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 schedule this post. And realistically, these things don't take a lot of time, but in making it like a 30 thing to do list, it made me feel like I was ticking lots of things off, but it also stressed me out because you're not made to manage that many things. You're not designed to manage that many things at once. And so now I do this thing called like an admin hour. And instead of putting on my to-do list, like do this, schedule this, email this person, all this stuff, I have 1 hour that I do everything. And I put it all together. So it's all like quick tasks. Cause like, then I don't have to constantly be checking my emails and my messages and all this stuff. And that really, really, really helps me. And also with to-do lists, I found that I was like oversaturating my to-do list with like random things and then not doing the really important things. So now I'm still struggling with this, but I'm trying to choose one thing that is like the mission of the day. And it's like, if that one really important mission gets done, then everything else is a bonus. And so it's so important for me to just decide like, okay, today's mission is work on my website. Next day's mission is work on reaching out and like creating proposals for people that I want to work with. And by doing that, it means that I have one focus. This is what helped me at university, because I would like choose one chapter of an essay to write every day. And that really, really, really helped me because I had one focus rather than I'm going to write this one and then do 500 words here and 200 words here and read this, like really just choosing like a mission for the day. So, because it makes it harder to procrastinate. Right now, when I have like a 30 thing to do list, because I'm like, oh, I want to tick off as many as possible, I start with like the mundane little tasks. And then by the time I get to the big thing that I need to do that day to like get closer to my goals, I feel tired. And so I don't do it and I procrastinate. And so it's little things like this and taking notice of like what is draining from your cup so that you know that you're not like mindlessly taking energy away from what you're meant to be doing with your work, with your friendships, with your relationships, with your health, like I said. And so, yeah, time to do an energy audit and comment down below what is not just giving you energy, but what is taking your energy, because I think we can all share. And I think there's a lot of things that are like in common between all of us of what takes and gives us energy. And I think it's really, really interesting to see. So let me know. Number 2, morning pages. So like I said, in the past, I used to wake up and put music on or go straight onto TikTok, straight onto Instagram, straight onto my emails and just be like in like responding mode, receiving mode of seeing other people's content, seeing other people's messages, seeing everything that's happening in the world, the news, all these things. And it would just make me feel really tired and drained and overwhelmed and stressed. And so, like I said, not only do I have a blocker on my phone until 10 a.m., but now I do this thing called morning pages, which I found out in this book called The Artist's Way, which I really recommend. If you're creative, even if you don't feel very creative, I think it's a book everyone should read. And basically the premise is you wake up and you just do a few pages of free journaling and you write down like what you're thinking and you just let your mind declutter. Because sometimes I am one of these people that just wakes up in a bad mood. Like I wish I was one of these people that could wake up and then just be like, oh my God, it's a perfect day, jump out of bed, be ready for the day. But I sometimes wake up in a bad mood. And so I find morning pages really helps me and fills my cup because I can write all of that down and like declutter my mind. Because as soon as I write it down, it feels like it's outside of me and it's not something that is like taking up space in my mind and in my life anymore. And when you write it down, sometimes you're like, this is so silly. Also, once you start making this a habit and you do this regularly, you realize that you wake up and you repeat the same script. There's so many things that I wake up and I'm like, I thought that yesterday. I thought that last week. I said that a few months ago. And so once you get mindful about what the script is, you can work on rewriting it. If you don't even know what like is going on up there, you have no way of like pattern interrupting it and deciding to think something that's more positive and beneficial for you. And so I find morning pages really useful. When it was like suggested in the Artist Way book, she said 3 pages. Sometimes I don't have paid time for 3 pages. That's a lot. And so sometimes I just write like 1 page, half a page, a few words, But it's just this practice of I start my day with release rather than responding, if that makes sense. And I feel like that really fills up my cup because I make space for actually energy giving things and actually for new things every day. And so I find that really lovely. And also I like to do a little visualization, 10-minute like meditation in my bed, which means I have like 10 minutes extra in my bed in the morning. And it's nice because I lie there and I like imagine how good the day is going to be and how lucky I am. And it always makes me feel really positive and happy. And so I recommend that kind of morning reset. And if you don't like writing, you don't even have to write it. You can just voice note yourself if you want to, or just do something again that is not in responding mode first thing in the morning, that is just for you. And I find that really, really, really fills up my cup. So that's number 2. Number 3, creative rest. Okay. So like I've said a few times already, I get really tired really easily. And I find myself sometimes getting into these moments of like chronic fatigue of I'm trying to push really hard. I'm trying to do many things. I tell myself I'm a super hardworking person and I want to constantly create and do, but then I feel really limited by the energy that I have and how tired I feel. And I realize it's not because I'm not sleeping enough or because I'm not resting enough. It's because I didn't have enough of the different types of rest. And there are actually 7 types of rest. It's really interesting. We have physical rest, emotional rest, mental rest, creative rest. There's so many different types, and I will link down an article below. You can look into it. But I find creative rest to be the most important for me. So in my mind, before I like kind of started looking into these things of how I can make myself feel better and happier and researching this for you guys, I used to think that rest was naps and Netflix. I'm tired, I'm going to go take a nap. I'm tired, I'm going to go watch some Netflix. I'm tired, I'm going to go watch some videos on social media. But actually that didn't feel very restful and I still felt really tired. And even if there were days where I wasn't working and I was just kind of like at home watching TV, I'd still feel tired. And so I was like, okay, why is this the case? And I looked into the different types of rest and I found out that there's this thing called creative rest. Now, creative rest is all about what it kind of says on the tin of creating and how that's restful, but it's so important that your creative rest is not to make something that you can use for your business or to be productive. It's really hard. I work in creative industry, right? I have this podcast, I run a media agency. And so I used to think of creative rest as, oh my God, I can make this video, I can do this. And how can I be creative and restful if my job is creative? But it's about finding new ways to exercise your creativity just to understand and appreciate the process. So how can you get into the flow state of just enjoying making something or doing something? For me, this is art. I love drawing. I love painting. I never want to be an actual painter. Like that's not something that I aspire to do. So it's one thing that I can do to really like switch my brain off. Also dancing, music, singing, all these different things of like even like going to the museum, making a puzzle. I think surrounding yourself with creative energy is so inspiring and so refreshing because you can see things that have been done and it makes you want to do things as well. So I feel like it's something that really recharges my batteries. I think there's such a difference between resting and recharging. And so making sure that you're balancing both. And also, you might not be a creative rest person. Look into the different types of rest because you might need more than other people in one of the categories. But really, really ask yourself, what is your creative outlet? And I see a lot of people say, oh, I'm not creative, I'm sciencey, or oh, I'm not creative, I work in finance, or oh, I'm not creative, like I haven't done art since I was like 10. And I think people just have such a limited view of what creativity is. Creativity is everywhere. And I think it serves you to believe that you are a creative person. And so ask yourself, like, what can I do to feel more creative today? Just to get out of my head, out of my routine, out of my comfort zone. And I find that is so energizing. That's like the number one thing that fills my cup, creative rest. And if you are an arty person, comment down your page. I will go follow you. I will go support you. If you make artwork, if you make music, if you make something, like comment it down below because I love supporting creatives. So please, please, please put yourself on my radar and on our radar. We can all share with each other. I would love that. Okay, number 4, get out of your head and into your body. Okay, so one thing that I really do aside from creative rest to fill up my cup is movement. Now, I used to have a very difficult relationship with movement when I was growing up because for me, movement meant exercise and exercise meant weight loss. And so it felt like this thing I had to do that was really stressful, that had to be on my to-do list, that had to be done so that I could lose weight, so that I could be accepted by the people around me, yada, 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 whatever. And I had such a bad relationship with exercise for the first 20 years of my life. And it's only recently that I've decided that it's less about exercise and more about movement. When you are in your head, when you are tired, when you are drained, when you are overwhelmed, you can't think yourself out of that rut. That is nervous system dysregulation. You feel that in your body. And so what can you do to get back into your body and get out of your head? And I think it's finding creative ways to move, right? Like what I said around creative rest. You don't have to play sports. I was never a sports person. I was never a tennis, basketball, football kind of person. So I found dance. I love dance. I love going to the gym. I love going on long walks and hikes. And so finding out different types of movement that work for you. You don't have to be super sporty. You don't even have to do it with other people. For me, a long time, exercise felt like this thing that was like PE class, and doing it in big group settings made me feel like PE, where I was like the worst one in PE class again. And so you just have to figure out a way that works for you. I recommend dance because you have music in there. You can do it with other people if you want. You can do it alone if you want. I recommend walks because that's the easiest, freest way to exercise. Yoga, all these different things. Just get out of your head and into your body. They say exercise is the best thing, and you literally release happy hormones, serotonin, all these things. And so rather than viewing exercise as a means to an end of getting to look a certain way or be a certain way, just think of it as your vitamin for your mental health. And 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of movement a day is literally enough if you're just trying to feel sane and happy. And so focusing on that, and anyone who has creative ideas of how you can do exercise, please let me know, because I'd love to try new things. I'd love to try some obscure sports or forms of exercise. So the next thing is solo adventures. I used to think of this as solo dates because I've seen that on the internet of take yourself out, go on a solo date, all these different things. And I did that for a few years and I loved my solo dates. But now I think of them as solo adventures because it's less about dating myself and all these things. And it's more about just leaving my comfort zone and trying new things. And so I have a list of things on my phone that I want to learn more about, that I want to experience, that I want to try, kind of like a bucket list. I remember when I was a kid, I used to make a summer bucket list every summer, and I stopped doing it when I became an adult because I was like, this is not very serious. But when did we become so serious? Why are we so serious? And so I now do this bucket list solo adventure situation where every time something comes onto my radar, I put it on my list, and once every other week or once a week if I can, or every so often I go on a solo adventure. It's Friday night and I haven't got any plans. I used to sit home and watch Netflix, which is fine. We love that. But now I also challenge myself to leave my comfort zone and try new things. So I have been to the theatre, I've been to the opera, I've gone to different neighborhoods, I have tried new activities, new hobbies, and I find these solo adventures really fill my cup because I get to try, experience new things. When I go alone, I really get to be present with whatever activity I'm doing, and also with myself. I get to hear more about what am I thinking? What do I want? What do I care about? What do I value? And also when you go out alone, you open yourself up more to new opportunities. When I am by myself, new people come and talk to me. Every single time I leave my house alone, people come and talk to me. They're like, oh my God, what are you doing here? What are you doing alone? I make new friends. I have new opportunities. I learn about people's stories and I love it. And so I really recommend going on solo dates or adventures or whatever. And I remember seeing this trend on TikTok around alphabetical dating. At that time, I wasn't dating anyone. And so I decided, instead of doing alphabetical dates, because I couldn't be bothered to go out with anyone, I made a list of alphabetical dates that I wanted to go on alone. And I decided to just go through the list. And that was so fun. So if you want, let me know and I'll send you the alphabetical dating list. And you can try different things in your city. Try, just make a bucket list. bring that like youthful playfulness back. I think we all just become so serious because we think we have to do life a certain way. I certainly became this way, where I was like, I need to be on best health, I need to have the best career, I need to be optimizing everything. And I stopped bringing joy, fun, and playfulness into my life. And that was to the detriment of my health, to the detriment of my success in my career. And so now I really make time for adventure, for exploration, for fun, because I truly believe that fun is the secret to everything. Like bringing more fun in. And also fun doesn't have to be what you see everyone else. Like for me, fun is no longer going to the club. If I'm going to the club, I'm going to dance, but it's no longer going out and like doing certain things that are just seen as like fun in British culture. And broadening your definition of fun and adventure is so important. So make a list of solo adventures, make a bucket list, make an alphabetical dating list, and go and explore your city, go and explore your country, go and explore your neighborhood. It is the best thing ever. I know it's a bit like hard right now because it's cold. I don't know what time of the year you're watching this, but I'm filming this when it's really cold. But there's so many indoor things that you can do. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can literally be free. Check out the museums. Check out like different things, exhibitions, volunteer. It is so fun. And if you have any ideas for solo adventures, let me know because I want to add to my list. Okay, next thing is personas vitaminas. Okay, this is the concept that I learned when I lived in Spain. So in Spanish, there is a saying called like personas vitaminas, which means basically like vitamin people. And it's this whole idea of you have people in your life that are kind of like vitamins, that they're so good for you. They make you feel so good about yourself. They're good for your health. They're good for your happiness. And I am very lucky that I have some personas vitaminas in my life. I think we all, when we look for them, we find them. And so the next thing that I do to fill up my cup is being really mindful of who those people are in my life and really making time to spend time with them, make them feel appreciated, plan things with them. Because when we are busy with our work and with our lives, sometimes balancing that in relationships is really overwhelming. And so this is going to sound really harsh, but it's so important to be mindful of the people that are actually giving you energy and supporting you and are your personas vitaminas, because when you're overwhelmed, that is, hanging out with those people is not to the detriment of your success, but it's essential. Community is essential. I run my own business and I work alone. Like I have a small team, but I work alone. And so when I started, I found it really hard to balance that with my friendships and my relationships, making time for other people. But now I see it as a vital investment, because that time that I spend with the people that I really love gives me better ideas, gives me the energy, gives me the support to keep doing the work that I do. And so being super mindful of who you surround yourself with, because you are the average of the people you surround yourself with. And then also like pouring that love and investment into them. The more that you are a vitamin person for other people, the more that other people will be for you. And I think it's about being super selective. Like I used to be such a friendly, extroverted person, and I loved being friends with everyone. And I still like a lot of people, but I'm definitely not friends with everyone anymore, just because you can't afford that. You just don't have time. It's like being the kind of person that pops 20 supplements. Like, do you actually even know what you're taking? You have to be super mindful of like what you need, what you actually have the capacity for at this time, and then really just like double downing on that. So now I spend less time. I have less friends, but I spend more time with them, and I spend really quality time with them. And I think that's so important. So send this to one of your personas vitaminas if you're still watching, and do something nice for them, because you are so lucky to have people in your life that you want to give to and people that are giving to you. I think it's like community is everything. Friendship is everything. And sometimes we forget that when we're in the pursuit of our own goals. But if you can somehow balance your success towards your goals in your work, in your life, in your health, with your relationships, and you bring your community along with you, that is the most powerful thing in the world. You are winning. You have a superpower. So focus on your personas vitaminas. Number 7 is buffer time. I have spoken in this episode quite a lot around overwhelm. I am someone who gets quite easily overwhelmed because I take on a lot of different things. I feel like my brain is like having 30 different tabs open at any given moment. I'm doing this, I'm trying this thing, I have to respond to this, I have to try this new activity, I want to try this new hobby, I want to make my business different in this way, this way, this way. And so I have all these constant ideas coming in and I get really tired. Like I said, I feel really, really, really tired. And so one thing that's really helped me fill my cup is buffer time. And that is time that I schedule in to just exist, to just do nothing or to catch up on things, because I have this habit of overfilling my to-do list or my calendar and my schedule and then getting really exhausted and not being able to implement everything 100%. And so now I have buffer time that I schedule in, and I know that there will be things that I have said that I'm going to do, but I will get tired and I won't be able to finish them. So they will be finished in buffer time. And if I'm not finishing something, I will use my buffer time to literally just exist. I think because we have so many things open to us right now with the internet, with social media, with content, we can constantly be consuming, learning, doing, trying, speaking with someone. And so we forget that we are also just meant to exist. We're also meant to just like be bored. And I used to be really scared of being bored. I used to think I was wasting my life and not doing my life correctly if I was bored, because like, what's the point? What's the point of being bored? But I now cherish it. I make time to be bored. I make time to have buffer time, because it's only in those moments where you will actually have clarity. You will not have clarity if you're constantly putting noise into your life. And so make time for buffer, make time for silence, schedule it in. Schedule it in like you would a work meeting. It doesn't have to be long. You can start with 20 minutes, then you can take it to an hour, then you can make it half of a day, whatever you need. We all have different needs. I think this also depends on how extroverted, introverted you are. I think introverted people naturally just need a little bit more time to be alone, to recharge their batteries. But even if you're super extroverted, make time to just be by yourself and just marinate on everything. Because if you constantly put ideas into your brain, but you don't have time to process them, that's exhausting. That's really, really exhausting. And so schedule buffer time in. And now I do this thing called a think day, where whenever I have time on the weekends, I don't do this every week because I don't have time, I will take myself to a new coffee shop or something around my city, and I will sit there and I will just think, and I'll just journal, and I'll be like, how did I feel about this week? How did I feel about certain things that came up? What do I need to process? What do I need to action? And my best ideas come from that time. My best insights, the best strategy comes from that time. So I think it's about creating the space for good things to happen in your life, in your mind. And I'm the biggest advocate for buffer time. Okay, next one. Romanticize your life. I love this whole romanticize your life trend on the internet. It is so important because I think seeing your life from this lens of positivity and beauty is so important, especially in the winter and when you have these more quiet seasons where no one's going on a holiday yet and it is cold and it is dark and it is grey. Romanticizing your life and making it something that feels like fun and luxurious is so essential. And so ways that I romanticize my life, like I said, I plan all of these things. I say solo adventures and I give them like names. Also now I've started doing this thing where like I set my like word or intention for the week. Like this week is adventure week, or this week is creativity week, or this week is side quest week. And I romanticize my life, and then also just like doing the little things. Like I buy myself flowers, and I always like try and make my space as cozy as possible. If I have to do work, I'm like, how can I make my environment aesthetic? How can I make the process enjoyable? Because I think there's ways of bringing sparks of joy into everything you do. You hate writing emails? Gamify it, make it fun. You hate cleaning your house? Listen to your favorite podcast. Speaking of, follow the podcast. Listen to your favorite podcast while you clean the house. And there are so many little ways of bringing joy into your life. And I said this in my episode a few months ago around happy triggers, of just like we have sadness triggers, things that make us upset, make us angry, make us stressed. We have happy triggers, things that bring joy into our lives, things that make us happy. So infusing happy triggers into everything you do is so essential, because again, bringing joy back into your life is so underrated, so underrated. There is no such thing as too much joy or too much happiness. And so romanticize your life a little bit more, please. I decided to do 9 because I want you to tell me the 10th thing. I want you to comment down the 10th thing. So this is my last thing. But number 9 is side quests and learning. So this is kind of linked to the adventures thing, but more from the perspective of learning. One of the things I believe the most strongly in this world is that everyone is smart. Everyone is smart. You just have to find the type of learner you are and then learn to learn. And so making learning a big part of your life and centering like a lot of the things you do around learning means that you will just be successful, because that learning is going to help you in different areas of your life, in your work, in trying to find new opportunities, in your health, in trying to find the best way that works for you, in your relationships and learning how to communicate. And so make time for learning. I have this thing on my phone called a learn list, which is just a random list of things that I want to learn about that weren't in my degree at university, that aren't really related to my work. And now when I do my makeup, or when I clean my house, or when I go on a walk, I like to do my learn list. I'll listen to like a little video, or I'll listen to an audio book. I find listening to things really helpful because I'm an auditory learner. But if you're not an auditory learner, if you're a visual learner, then like buy books, buy magazines, do courses. Or if you're a kinesthetic learner, like try new hobbies in terms of learning. And I think when you make time to learn new things, it is the most confidence building thing, because you see that you didn't have a skill or you didn't know anything about something, and then all of a sudden you unlock this new superpower. It's like a video game where you're just like getting more and more points and you're entering new and new worlds. And so make a list of random side quests that you want to learn about, and then you don't need a lot of time to start learning. 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 5 minutes there. And so how can you bring more learning and more joy into your life? That is like such an underrated way, again, of filling up your cup. And so for me right now, things I want to learn more about is ancient history. I want to learn more about history because I just didn't do that much in school. I want to learn more about cooking because I'm not the best cook. I want to learn more about like how to make different like dishes, because I rely a lot on like ChatGPT recipes, which is so embarrassing. And then I also want to learn about AI, because there's so many interesting ways that you can use AI, and we are in such an interesting time of our lives. And so I want to learn how to use it, so I'm not just asking ChatGPT to make my grocery list and write recipes for me, but I'm using it in a way that works better for me. And so what are things that you want to learn about? That is so energy giving, joy giving, things that fill up your cup. And the more you learn, the more you exercise your muscle of curiosity. And the more you flex that muscle, the more you see opportunities to learn more. And it is one of the most beneficial things in this life. And so how can you become more curious? How can you learn? How can you bring more time for side quests in? This is the question you need to ask yourself. And I said that I'm not doing 10, I'm doing 9. But I think number 10 of the things that I do to fill up my cup is let life surprise me. And so just be open to new things that you can't expect or control coming into your life that will give you so much joy. There are so many things that life does to surprise you. New friends that you hadn't planned on meeting, new relationships that you hadn't planned on meeting, new hobbies, new skills, new places. And so be open to be open to being surprised by life. And I really, really hope that you will comment down things that fill up your cup, because I think we can do this together. We can create this like happy, cozy corner of the internet together, where we're all just trying to create like a happy version of our lives. I am so curious of what this is for you. I think I have a lot to learn from you, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. This was something that I just wanted to do as a more cute, casual chat. But this podcast, we're trying a lot of different things out. We're having new interviews, new different types of solo episodes. So any ideas you have, please message me on the podcast Instagram. It's in the bio. And stay tuned for more episodes, because next week we'll be back with another interview. Thank you for making the time. If you watched till the end, I appreciate you and I love you. And you are one of the reasons that I am super, super happy to be doing this and lucky. So thank you. Have a lovely rest of your day. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.